All right, welcome back to the girls' room. It is the beginning of the week. It's Sunday at almost 3 p.m. And, we're on this love journey, and I just want to know how to navigate expressing potential interest to someone without setting unrealistic expectations. All right, let's get into it. So, I'd say in the past, I wouldn't really consider myself to be toxic necessarily. I think maybe I had toxic habits, like, unintentionally misleading someone into thinking that I'm interested in something more than a moment. And I've also been misled. So it's not like I'm doing things, and it's certainly never out of spite or out of just like malicious intent. But, as I'm maturing and growing, I really want to be intentional in how I'm presenting myself to people as well. And I don't want to step into a situation knowing that someone likes me maybe more than I like them, and presenting myself in a way, I guess, that justifies whatever it is they're doing. So, kind of going back to and following up on my last video about collecting data that you're learning from someone new and applying it to how you continue to have a conversation with that person. And I actually had to call one of my friends. If you're watching, you know who you are. Just to get a little gut check because I'm 32. I kind of understand expectations or the thought that might be present during like a Netflix and chill type of vibe. And so if I'm getting the sense that that's something you're on, then I'm gonna move a certain way, and it makes me a little uncomfy because it just makes me feel a little objectified. And these are just kind of antennas and maybe intuition or just kind of that feeling that you get when it's like, oh, like, are you actually interested in me, or do you just need a warm body? And I don't know if I'm even that warm, but do you just want like a female presence and like physical touch type of vibe? Um, if that's the case, then probably not, maybe. But if I feel that vibe from you, it throws me off, and I just kind of shut down a little, and I might overdo my like friend zony bit, especially if I don't know where this is, and I'm catching myself being like, I don't know, the standard like guy answer where it's like, I just want to go with the flow. I don't know what this is. Let's just figure it out. Um, there really is no we right now. Like it's it's interesting, and it's good to have all sides and all sorts of experiences when it comes to attraction and being into someone. And so with this particular man who I met recently, something about him just makes me and made me feel like he's just kind of, I don't know, a dog. like if you let him. It seems like he's kind of one of those people that, and like most people, you're gonna see, for a lot of people, you want to kind of test it out. You want to test out what the person me is willing to do and what I'm comfortable with. So I think he's just testing out boundaries, and not in a bad way, but just like maybe based off of what he knows and who he's dealt with. And for me, I'm like, I'm just not going to be like anybody that you've dealt with before, probably. Like, I hate to say I'm not like most girls, but when you think of the dating scene in 2025, 2024, I'm not really like what you're used to, because when we're talking, And I'm talking to this man. I've told him, and I'm very open and honest about my thoughts. I'm not holding back because you're a single man and this and that. I don't care. I don't care. Like I come on. Let's just chill. But I've been pretty clear that I am not the type of person that wants to move in with a boyfriend before there's like real commitment, aka marriage. And I'll go back and forth with you on that. And I have. I've had many conversations where with women and men, oh, like you cannot sway me into thinking that's what's best. Everyone's like, well, you have to, and with this man as well, it's like, you got to know what you're getting into before you get into it. Lie. I don't believe that. I don't believe that whatever habits a person has living can be like a non negotiable and something worth calling off a marriage, because I think things worth calling off a marriage for, a commitment for, those are like character flaws. And to me, living with somebody is just seeing, oh, that they only clean up once a week, or they're not the best doing dishes. All the other things you should have already known about the person, because you're still going to spend a lot of time with them. So if you really want to break up with me, or you don't see a future with me because I don't do the dishes the way you want, then we shouldn't be getting married, because those are things that you can change and fix. And I'm coming from that perspective too. From, my siblings, they waited. I mean, for whatever reason too. Like, I'm not saying it was just a pressing thing and it was never going to happen that they would move in with someone then they weren't married to. But in my immediate circle, I've seen that happen. It's not new to me. So I'm like, yeah, I know it's out there. It's out there so close to me too. So you cannot tell me that's unrealistic. But if that's for you, that's for you. And so there are just things that I want people to know immediately, not even as a, hey, if we're going to date, you should know this about me. But if we're going to have a conversation about something, you ask me a question or you bring something up, I'm going to tell you what I'm willing to do and my thoughts, at least. Like, things change, and I think you really need to make room for change. But I'm really kind of standing firm on a lot of stuff. And with this particular man that I'm just meeting, it seems like we just come from maybe different backgrounds. We probably want different things, but we're also so new to each other. And I really want to establish a friendship first, because there's something about him that just screams, yeah, like dog, a little mutt. Like, you are objectifying me a little bit, just in like those subtle remarks. And now you're putting me in a situation where this is good. I have to communicate. I have to remind you, like, hey, I don't want you to look at me like a piece of meat. And maybe you don't, but I just don't. It's hard because I don't want to lead anyone on, but I also don't want to jump the gun and say, like, hey, I know you're in love with me or whatever, but like, literally stop. No, even though in the back of my mind, it's like, I feel like I'm super easy to, fall in love with. But I have just noticed that there are certain things he would say weren't inherently bad or like disrespectful. It's just that I haven't gotten to know him enough, or I don't have that immediate spark or chemistry or whatever with him to feel at ease with him kind of leading the thoughts and conversations in more of a physical way. And it's not like he's grazed my leg or anything, but it's just like, oh, you want me to hold your hand? Ooh. Like, I don't know. It's making me feel like I want to lean more into a friendship. We're like a neighbor, as opposed to anything else. And it's interesting because with him, I feel like this is moving kind of fast. Your interest seems to be moving fast. And I don't know if that's really true, because with some other men I can think of off the top, it is quick and it was fast. And it's just like, we're locked in. I felt comfortable. And I never feel or felt like you are looking at me in any type of like sexual manner. Like, obviously, I know that you want to do certain things, that you know where I stand. And it's not like, we can't like embrace each other and things like that, because we do. But I don't feel like that sexual vibe of like, oh, I know what you're looking for. I know what you want. And with this guy, I kind of feel that way. Yeah. And to be fair, like, again, I don't mind you wanting certain things. I think that you should. I think that you should absolutely find me attractive and, you know, follow your instincts a little bit. But I don't want to like be around you and feel like I can't let my guard down. And I don't know if it's just because I don't know this man well enough and he doesn't know me well enough and I need to communicate certain boundaries, but I almost feel like I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to be around someone where I'm like, okay, hey, just so you know, I'm abstinent. Like, I've said it and I'll say it time and time again. I don't care. I think people need to know that off top. Um, so maybe that's just the best way to approach it, is just, hey, I know you want to date me and you want to take me out, but I just want to let you know that there's no sex happening at all. Like, that just feels kind of icky. Like, okay, it just feels odd. Um, and I also don't even want to insinuate that there's an us, because by saying like, oh, I just want to let you know, to me it puts this situation into a category that I'm not sure I want to be in. Like, do I even want to start talking and vibing like there's something between us? I don't know that I do. And like, my friend was just like, well, maybe you're just not that into him. I'm like, yeah, I think that's it. And I personally think that's okay. Like, I'm not into him. I think we had great conversation. I think that, there could be potential there if he just kind of slows his roll a little bit. Um, I don't really see any flags, to be honest. It's just, when you get to know somebody, you might have to be a little more communicative than the other guys. But I think it's so evident to me because when I think of other men in my orbit, I think that, wow, I didn't have to do any of this with them. And, there's nothing really going on. I'm still single. These men that I'm speaking about are single, but I am really like into them. And it's easy. Like, I like to embrace them and I like when they embrace me. And it's just like super effortless, like, conversation, and it just feels like chemistry, like immediate. Like, I feel like I must have always been a lover girl, because the way that I will leap into a man's arms if I feel like it, if I feel led, oh my God, I'm like, you gotta slow down. But these guys don't ask me to slow down. They're like, oh, okay, let me embrace you. I'm like, I just get all like marshmallowy and putty. And I like that. Like, I like that feeling that I get with somebody immediately that I'm into. Like, I'm not gonna pretend that I'm not. Like, I'm not gonna get all far from you too much. Like, I wanna touch you. The guys I'm interested in, I think physical touch is a big thing. It's not to say that if I'm not touching you, I'm not interested, because it's everybody's different. But because I'm having all of these different, because I'm having all of these different experiences, I'm able to like see patterns in myself and in men that I like. I think for whoever I'm with, I just want there to be an instant spark of something. Like, I understand you have to earn and build trust and things need to be nurtured and grown, but I still want there to be like, when we first met, there was a spark. There was something. There's this chemistry. Like, we feel like we've known each other for a long time. Like, we have like compatible hearts and souls. And I feel that with a couple guys. And this is me being all daydreamy and lover girly, but with this, I don't. I do still feel like there might be value to any, like, relationship or continued whatever, but I don't want to press the issue at all because I don't want to lead him on. And yesterday, when we hung out, there was just like some conversation that I had to step in for. Like he would say something, and I'm like, "Oh, are you talking about me, or are you talking about just dating in general? Are you talking about your past? Like, I just want to say I'm not into cuddles." Like I'm like almost preemptively like, oh, just guarding, just so that, or proactively, retroactively, because I don't know where this is going, but I just want to be as clear as possible when things arise, when you say anything about dating, even if it's your past, even if it's just like a, pie in the sky type of vibe. I just want to be clear. Oh, okay. Um, well, when it relates to me, I don't really like that. Like just to manage expectations constantly. Like if I have to be your therapist for now, just a lending ear, and I'm asking you follow up questions, then I'll do that. I'm not sure what you're used to, and I think last night that kind of surprised him a little bit, just me being so inquisitive, because like I want to know, especially since I'm certain you are into me, and so I just am like really trying to figure out how to balance being a good neighbor and maybe a potential friend and a potential whatever with an immediate, oh, okay, like it's us. Because I'm like, what you mean? There is no us. And I don't want to blatantly say that because you never know. You know, you never know what's going to happen. But yeah, it's interesting just to see the difference in response and thought process that I'm having with him versus what I've had with other men, even just in this room so far. I'm like, it's still January, and I don't know how many men I've talked about in this mirror, but it's been a few. It's been several, and like most of them, I'm in. I'm like, oh, you want to? Yes, let's do it. Like I'm excited, but I think he just started off poorly. And maybe he can redeem himself because I think that there are redeemable traits just based off of that conversation we had. Like we literally let the sun go down because we were just talking. Though there were moments when I look at you and I'm like, oh, you're just like, why are you so fascinated by what I was saying and by me? And it's not a bad thing, but part of me does feel like it's a bad thing because it makes me feel like I'm not a real person. Like he put me on this like shelf of, whoa, I have not heard a woman talk like this, or just like lead with logic or something. Like certain things he said, it's like, you know women are so emotional, and I'm like, yeah, we are, and we're supposed to be, but I think that there's a time and a place, and I am very much one that grew up with actions that were led mostly in just like logic, I guess, as opposed to just I feel this, so that's what I'm going to do. I like to integrate a lot more emotions now because it is such an important part of being a woman and being nurturing and being a wife and being a mom, and just something that I'm learning over time, and like naturally leaning into. And I actually really like leaning into this soft joy. It's really nice, especially with men. Um, but I want to make sure that we can be on some sort of same page and maybe just like start over. Like maybe I don't want to have an intentions talk. We're like, let's talk about. I don't want to do none of that. I just want him to move with caution because he doesn't know who he's speaking to. And I just am not the girl that goes for certain conversations with certain people because it has like, he could say something and throw me off because he said it, because he hasn't earned the right to say that to me just because we're not there. And it's hard to explain, I guess, but it's not something you earn by doing like a certain amount of push-ups or like, reciting certain things because I'm words of affirmation, because I'm not necessarily. I just, it's a vibe. It's a feeling. It's like if we have a connection, then you can almost say a lot to me because I'm goofy and I'll just laugh. And it's because it's funny and you're laughing and we just have that vibe. Because it's not even that we don't know each other that well. Like we had a conversation, cool. It's just him personally, I'm not there with him. And it's not to say I can't get there or be there. I'm not gonna force anything now. I'm willing to date him and not willing, like, I'll do it if you force me. But I'm interested, interested enough to see what you're about. And then, have a conversation like an adult and say, these are things that I value and this is where I'm going. What about you? And if those things kind of align, great, like honestly align, and you're not just like lip servicing me because you can't be alone. And I can weed it out. I think my discernment's decent enough to say, yeah, we'll see. I don't trust it. And on top of the fact, I'm really not going to have sex with you. So we will see. We will see. And I don't want to even feel like you want to have sex with me when we're hanging out. Like I should be able to know it. Like even with these other guys, it's like I know you would, you know, get physical if you had the option, but you never make me feel like that's what you want. And so I have that now somewhat regularly of just like male presence and we're both into each other and of course there's physical attraction, but I never feel like you would even cross the line at all. Like you even want to. I don't even feel like you're thinking about me like that right now. I mean, always in the back of your head, but it's just like sweet and respectful. And I know that it's out there and I know that I want it. But I also know that this is a dating journey. It's only January, so I really need to it's still kind of a numbers game. Like he might have qualities that I realize I do want and it maybe could be worth a conversation. Um he did mention he wanted to take me out, so we'll see if that happens. I I guess I accepted. I think so. I said, okay then. I might have even said a thumbs up. I don't know. But I'm down. Like, again, we had a good conversation. But it's like the more I spend time with him, or these past couple of days, past couple of times I've spent time with him, it just says things that I'm like, I'm going to have to watch out for that. I'm going to have to watch out for you being like a lover boy, which for me, in the way that we spoke about it, is just someone that kind of needs someone else and is a little dependent. And when I was asking him, he kind of like chuckled a little bit and was like, yeah, but don't make it sound like that. I'm like, there's no way I'm trying to make it sound. I have grown into a lot of my independence over the years. And maybe because I'm a twin, also, I'm like, I want to be by myself. I like it. Like, I don't feel like I even really had a lot of friends growing up. Like, I'm used to it. Um, and in moments when I say it out loud and think about it, it makes me a little sad. I'm like, I'm used to not really having someone there at night. And I don't need to. I don't get strength from that or validation from that. And I think he might not be like that. And that's totally fine. But I still need you to know what you're walking into, should you so choose to accept the challenge. Because it's not going to be easy. Like, I know you can tell that. And who knows, maybe I'll never hear from him again because he's just like, this girl's not into me, whatever. And that's fair because I'm not going to be into you how you want me to be. It's going to be based off of how I'm responding to whatever you're saying and whatever you're doing. So, I hope that he is just monitoring what he's looking for in a person and not putting a lot of weight and pressure on me to fulfill what he really needs. And I'm happy that I am asking questions because this is me also like collecting data. I want to know who you are. so that I can really decide what I want to do or what I don't want to do. Like, it's not even about me trying to therapize you. It's me asking questions because I think I know what you want. You're describing things and saying we. And I'm like, literally, like, who's we? There is no, there's a me and there's a you. And I think that it's a little dangerous to start grouping us right now. We just met and we haven't established that we're like, let's lock in. I have no idea what's going on with you. You don't really know what's going on with me. I get it. You're in love. It's just very interesting. I like this journey. I like everything that's happening. But I caught myself. I mean, I wouldn't say I was lying because I wasn't. But he mentioned something about cuddles. He's just like, oh, I'm not asking for a lot. I like cuddles and all these things. And I'm like, well, you should find somebody that likes that. That's a great observation. It's good that you're learning what you like. And he's just like, uh, I don't want to. What do you mean find other people? And I'm like, yeah. I mean, what do you mean? What do I mean? Like you should get what you want. You're a lover boy. So maybe the lover boy is just red flags because you just want love, maybe from anywhere and everywhere. And I'm like, I'm not gonna give you maybe what you want unless you ask and tell me what you want, and then I can decide if that's something that aligns with who I am and what I want. Because I don't like cuddles. And then I was like, wait a second, I like to cuddle that man and that man. So maybe I do like cuddles. But I'm not like a huge cuddler at all. Like I might cuddle you for 5 minutes or might ask for cuddles and then I'll like move you. I'm like, okay, that's enough. Thanks for your service. So yeah, I'm not trying to be up on anybody all day. Like of just laying up in a bed all day. That's crazy to me. We gotta get up. Let's get up. Let's go work out or something. Um Now I still want to like touch you and stuff, like little, like maybe every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes, I just give you like a little wrist touch or something, or we have a nice little sway. But now that I'm specifically on this dating journey with intention, I'm like, I'm finding my husband this year. I don't know that we're gonna get married this year. Maybe, who knows? But it's already January, and like, hey, experiences are happening. But I'm feeling optimistic. I'm feeling super optimistic for this year. I have this plan and I'm moving forward with it. And I think that has kind of stopped me from having fruit in the past where I've just been so uncertain. It's like, I don't know what I want. I don't know if I really want to date me and do I like me. No, I'm like, it's on go. Like I know what I want career wise for the most part, and I'm moving forward. And I'm like, all right, we gotta keep, my foot on the gas. And with love, I'm like, I'm looking for a husband. I'm looking for a partner. I don't want to do life alone. I want to give and I want to receive and I want to love. Like, this is such new territory for me because I've never been that person to like willingly admit that I like anyone. Like, some of my girlfriends, it's like, Joy, you don't ever, ever, ever say that you like somebody, but you're over here giddy and smiling. I'm like, no, I don't like him. I don't know what you're talking about. But now I'm like, no, it's cool. It's cool to be vulnerable. It's cool to communicate. I actually kind of like it.